Hello everybody, Razorblade Mango here, and welcome to the video where I talk about all the games that I played at PlayStation Experience and one game that I got a very extensive look at. Now, there will be a separate video covering my overall opinion on the show itself. That'll be recorded, hopefully with a guest, and that will come sometime next week. That's the video where I'll get into, what I thought of the opening ceremony and the show floor and how the show was structured and the exhibits that they had. So anything besides the games, and I might even mention the games just a little bit in that video. But this video is strictly about the games, exclusively about the games. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, maybe it was a little premature to throw out that video about, getting your suggestions with stuff to play there, because I didn't even get to a few of the things that I wanted to try out, and I apologize that my scheduling getting over there and, the group that I was with, it just... and to be perfectly honest, I prioritized the stuff that I initially put in that video a while back. So unfortunately, I didn't get to things like Dragon Crowns Pro or Frank's or Dead Rising 4 or whichever one it is. And I actually wanted to. I wanted to get to those things, but it did not work out, unfortunately. But these are the games that I did play that I will be talking about. And I guess let's start this off. So I guess I'm gonna talk about let's get the negative out of the way first. Let's talk about the games there that I did not particularly like. And there's only a few of them, but they are two games that I came away rather disappointed by. One definitely more so than the other, which I guess I'll start with what I thought was easily the weakest game out of the bunch that I played, Vayne, which I really wanted to like this one. I went into it, very intrigued by the style they were going with, this kind of post-apocalyptic darkness to it, and I thought the last trailer that they showed at PSX 2016 looked really cool. I wanted to play the game last year, didn't get the chance to, so I made it a goal to try it this year. And oh boy, so I guess to put it, as bluntly and as honestly as I can put it, it was really bad. It was, and I feel bad for saying that in case, the developers are listening, but oh man, that demo, it was just a combination of multiple negative things that just really put me off of the game. One, it was way too long. It focused on an area that was way too open, and you really had no sense of direction as to what to do or where to go. And if the guy, hadn't explained certain things to me, and that's not a good sign to me when I'm playing a game and one of the developers have to come up and, tell me, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. That's bad. That's like bad signposting. That's bad basic explanation of things. It's not good. And I understand that it's a demo, but you really gotta make, if you're gonna have a game with a big open environment to it, you gotta have better signposting. You gotta have you gotta give your players better concept of what they're supposed to be doing. And I just felt completely lost playing Vayne, and it was just this large open space, and I got so bored so incredibly quick. Not to mention too that it gave me kind of a headache. That demo that I played, it was running on a base PS4. And if it comes out like what I played at PSX, this game is in serious trouble, because this demo could barely hit 20 frames per second. And if that doesn't sound like a big deal, when you're actually playing a game like this in motion, where there's constant movement on the screen, constant like flipping of the wings and having to interact with other things, and there's a lot of slowdown to it. It's just, it constantly just drops below 20 frames per second. It's just it's a hideous looking game, and I don't mean that from artistic standpoint. I think artistically, art design, it is all right, but graphically, just how it's optimized on the PS4, it's terrible. It was physically unpleasant to play, and that's like one of the worst things I can say about a game. And I felt bad too, because I crashed the game at one point. It hard crashed on me because apparently you weren't supposed to tap the touchpad on the PS4 controller, and it just crashed the whole game, and I had to restart it from the beginning. And I just, in my head, I was like, oh god, I gotta do all this again. Just, oh fuck. All right. So I played through it like 1.5 times, and it just was so unpleasant, and I didn't even finish it. Like I bailed before it got to the final part, or what I hoped was the final part. One, I had to be somewhere for an appointment, and two, I did not want to play it anymore. I was so bored. It was such an unpleasant experience, and this game needs serious work if it's going to be released really soon. I don't know if there's a release date attached to it or anything, but just Vayne. I came into the show kind of looking forward to trying it out, and I walked away never wanting to play it again. Like, it was just that bad of an experience. So Vayne, unfortunately, just the worst thing I played at PSX. And sadly, another disappointment was Kingdom Come Deliverance. By no means nowhere near as unpleasant as Vayne in terms of, physical comfort, but it's problematic in similar ways. I guess it has that really weird, I don't really know how to describe it. When like a Kickstarter game comes out, it's got that like weird lack of polish to it almost. In some cases, it definitely feels like, a team was restricted with their budget and everything. Well, that's what this felt like, because it felt like The Witcher 3, but without any of the polish, without any of the really good graphics. It was just kind of bland. It was just a really bland game, and they gave you a really kind of meh mission to play through. You basically just have to chase down some bandits that have killed some horses for fun at a barn. So that wasn't very exciting. You do a lot of walking around, a lot of writing, a lot of talking. It's just, I didn't think the writing was very good. I didn't think the voice acting was all that good. The lip syncing was awful. And it also didn't help too that their headsets at the booths were malfunctioning, so it would cut in and out. The sound would just cut in and out all the time. So that kept distracting me. I had to literally kind of move my head around to twist the cable so it would stop, the sound would stop cutting in and out. So that was really distracting, unfortunately. And I don't necessarily blame the game for that, and I don't blame the developers for that, but it was an unfortunate hardware malfunction that was not the developer's fault, but it kind of dampened the game for me a little bit. And speaking of graphical quality, oh boy, lots of pop-in, bad draw distances on the game. It ran at a really choppy 30 frames. Not as bad as Vayne, but it was definitely I could definitely see where the frame rate would dip. So yeah, I just didn't like the combat. I thought the combat was just really awkward and wonky. It was just, I didn't like it. I walked away really disappointed. And a similar problem with Vayne is that the demo was just so long. It was like, there were two people in front of me, and I waited a good hour and 15 minutes to play the game. And they did not do that great of a job, the people running that booth, of setting a time limit for what you could be doing. I feel like they brought the wrong kind of demo to it. They wanted to show off, a story mission and everything, but I felt like it should have been a lot shorter. It should have been like a small little side mission you do, and not a main quest, because the main quest took way too long, and for people that did not want to do this quest, there was really no other way. There was really nothing else you could do. So it just, yeah, look, I really want to believe in this game, and I was looking forward to trying out Kingdom Come Deliverance, because I've had my eye on it for like what feels like 2-3 years now, and I even told the guy at the booth, I was like, yeah, man, I've had my eye on this game for a while now, and I've been kind of looking at it every so often. But yeah, like once I came back from PSX and went on my Steam wish list, I just removed Kingdom Come Deliverance from it. It just did not impress me, and I think it'll fare better on something like the PC, but I did not like it. I just walked away really unimpressed, really underwhelmed, so that was disappointing. But anyway, enough about disappointments. Let's move on to the stuff that I liked, and thankfully that's the majority of this video, stuff that I liked. Let's start with Dreams, because Dreams is a unique situation here. I never played Dreams, didn't get a chance to. I don't even know if they allowed people to play Dreams, but it was something that I went into the show really skeptical about. And this is another situation where it's a PS4 exclusive that kind of just came out and then dropped off the face of the earth and then gets re-revealed later. And I think Media Molecule saw the feedback to it, back in like 2015, 2016, where people were kind of like scratching their heads and looking at it with a raised eyebrow or two, thinking like, whoa, what the hell? Like, why would I ever play this game? But I was one of those people, because I'm somebody that's not super crazy about Little Big Planet. I'm not someone that's crazy about, I did not care for Tearaway Unfolded. I tried it. Not my thing. So Media Molecule are not one of the developers from PlayStation that I really look at with high anticipation. But I'm telling you guys, from what I saw from that super in-depth demonstration of the game, the multiple demonstrations that they did for both days, I came away very, very, very excited for Dreams. You really need to see it in person, and then these 2-minute videos, 5-minute videos, like small little trailers that Media Molecule are releasing for it, do not do this game justice, because it is, and I will go so far as to use this word, it potentially could be revolutionary, mind-blowing even. It blew my fucking mind at points. So the concept of Dreams is that it has two sides to it. One, it's the, campaign-esque kind of little stories that Media Molecule will create from, the toy box of Dreams, making their own games, making their own performances, stuff like that. And then there's the other side of it, definitely the more focus of it, is that, player creation, where players can have this gigantic toolbox and create anything they want with Dreams, with this engine. In the demo that I saw, the presentation that I sat through, the full 25-30 minute one, I saw a guy build a lava platform level with working enemies, with puzzles, with a custom built soundtrack. And I'm not just talking about a small little thing, I'm talking about a custom soundtrack where they had a ton of instruments you could work with and create your own soundtrack to it. You could you can even put your own voice in the soundtrack. It went even further to show that you could add like individual little notes from individual little instruments to create a very specific soundtrack to the game or thing that you want to make in Dreams. And that blew me away looking at that. I think my mouth literally just dropped open when I saw that, and I thought, holy shit. So I was very impressed by the demonstration I got of Dreams. I really liked it. I'm looking forward to the game, you know, with cautious optimism, I must say, because despite what they said about, you know, like, oh, we have all this campaign and stuff, it's like, I don't think that's going to be the big focus of it, but I did hear from Media Molecule that they will be supporting it. I don't know if it's going to be free DLC or paid DLC or a mixture of the two, but you know, it sounds like they're in for this thing for the long run. So I'm pleased to hear that. Now, if there are two things that I could advise Media Molecule on, it would be these things. One, this game needs to be $40. And I say that because this is one of those niche exclusives that I don't think will okay, let's you know, not think. It won't be, it should not share the same spotlight. They shouldn't even attempt to put this alongside things like God of War and The Last of Us Part 2 and Death Stranding and Days Gone and all those games. Like this is like Knack 2. This is like Shadow of the Colossus. This is like Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. This is a game that, in order to entice more people, should be at a lower price, because if people look at this and see the $60 attached to it, they're already going to get that image in their head of, no thank you. Most people will, because this game is targeting a very specific audience. But I think in order to entice more people to give it a chance, it needs to be $40. Maybe even $30. I'll say $40 just because that seems to be what PlayStation is doing recently with some mid-tier exclusives. So I believe this game needs to come out at a budget price, because it's better to have, you know, one customer in the hand is better than two in the bush. If I'm going to use, you know, the bird in the bush analogy. It's better to have, you know, entice one person with a $40 price point than to lose two customers with a $60. You're earning less, but, you know, you gain a customer and potentially a long-term investor into it, into the world of dreams. Secondly, they announced that there's going to be a beta for this game. Now, if what I think is going to happen proves to be true, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think Dreams' first public introduction to the world in the form of a playable demo should be this limited time beta. I think it should be a free, keep as long as you want demo. Put it on the PlayStation Store, have people purchase it for free, and give people like a small, like a fraction of the tools that they can use, and just have them let their imaginations run wild. Have them experiment with the game. Have them try out the crazy custom soundtrack stuff that I saw at PSX. Have them create levels, have them create soundtracks, have them create musical performances or movies or whatever. Just have them do that. Have them work with this small demo so people will see it and get an idea of what it is and whether it's for them or not. And have them keep it as long as they want. I think that would be the best marketing strategy, the best advertising strategy for Dreams. Those two things. Have a $40 price point, and maybe 6 months to 9 months before launch, because I think this game is going to come out sometime in like September or August of 2018. Have it release with, you know, before the main release, have it come out with a permanent demo that people can experiment with and share their stuff with on the internet so others can try it out. That would be great. That would get the community buzzing. It'd be like a free early access kind of thing. I genuinely think that is the best way to go. And if anyone from Media Molecule, Media Molecule was taking questions at the thing, and I wish I had thought of this at the time, just to advise them a little bit. Maybe it's not something that they want to hear, but in my humble opinion, I think those two things, a $40 price point and a permanent demo, 6 to 9 months before launch, are essential to selling Dreams and providing it the spotlight I believe it deserves. I want Dreams to succeed. I don't want Dreams to fail. But I don't think the way they're going with it right now is the fully correct way to do it. I think this is just something the public needs to toy with as long as they want. Get it in their hands permanently. Let them see what I saw at PSX. That's the best way to do it. The next game that I'm going to talk about briefly is Fighting EX Lair, which is the new game from one of the producers of Street Fighter. I always forget the dude's name, but this is one of the ones that's like his mysterious fighting project for a number of years, and I've finally played it, and it's actually available for a limited time to try out. A small little beta on PlayStation Store right now. It's a little tough to find, but I'll put the link to it in the description box so you guys can try it out for those who have a PS4. It's online matches only, unfortunately, so you can't do a local play like I did with my friend at PSX. I am not the most, I'm definitely like far from the, let's be honest, I'm far from the most qualified person to talk about fighting games. I don't play them very often, I'm not very good at them, and I very rarely ever buy them. I think the last fighting game I bought was Mortal Kombat X, and that kind of turned me off to buying fighting games day one anymore. So you can blame Mortal Kombat X and Warner Brothers for that. So to me, it was just, you know, a fighting game, and I didn't fully get a grasp of it until I played it at home, and I like dicked around with the controls and shit, and I actually found it to be a much funner game to play with this beta, where I can have it as long as I want rather than just like a one-off match at PSX against my friend, and I beat my friend, which I'm very proud of that considering he's competed at Evo before. But I liked it. I thought it was fine. It's not something I'd really buy, but you know, it was one of the first games I tried out at PSX, and I liked it. Started out with a positive first impression, unlike last year's game. Right, next game, again, I'll do this briefly since the game is actually out right now. Gang Beasts. I'm not good at it. I'm pretty bad at it, honestly. But I can definitely see why it's a fun party game. It's silly, it's chaotic, it brings out like the fierce competitive spirit in the people playing it and the people watching others play it. It is definitely a game I can see being a big success at parties. Very good time. I'm very tempted to get it if enough of my friends play it, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, Gang Beasts. I played it last year as well, and it was just as fun this year as it was last year, even though I'm terrible at it. Right. Let's move on to the big boys. So, first big boy, Shadow of the Colossus. Yes, I have played a bit of the remake, and there are three options you could do. One, you could go against the first Colossus, go against the third one with the big stone beast, or you can go against the 13th Colossi, which is the flying one in the desert. You can do that one. And because I was just playing Shadow of the Colossus, I'm going against the first and third one already, I decided to go with the 13th one. And that was kind of a mistake, because they were not kidding when they said that the controls have changed a little bit, and it took a little while to get used to, and to be perfectly honest, I think Aggro is even more stubborn in this game than she was in the original Shadow of the Colossus. It's like controlling that horse initially, it probably needs to be tweaked a little bit, but my god, I fucking hate that horse. I hate that horse. I've never understood why people like that horse. I've never understood why people cry when the horse dies. Spoiler alert. It's been out for fucking 12 years, people. The horse dies. Okay? Well, you think the horse dies. So, Aggro is still annoying. It's still a little, it definitely still feels like Shadow of the Colossus. It has not, for people worried that it doesn't feel like Shadow of the Colossus, it definitely feels like Shadow of the Colossus, for better and for worse. It still feels a little wobbly with the kid, even though I know that's the narrative point of it. But, holy fuck, this game looks gorgeous. I've played it on a nice big TV. I think it was a PS4 Pro they were using. They said it was a PS4 Pro. I don't think mine was 60 frames. I think they went with the dynamic 4K 30 frames option. But holy shit, this game looks amazing. You can, like, when you're riding to your destination from the temple, you can see like individual little blades of grass. The forest looks completely different from the original game. Just they were not kidding when they said that they remade all the graphical assets from the game from the ground up, and it looks like the things that you see in the trailers, even then it looks beautiful, but it does not do the playing the full game justice. And now that I've played the full game, I can, oh my lord, it was just wow. It was jaw-dropping. I didn't even mind so much that I kind of got lost in the demo, because it looked so different that I did not recognize it. Even though I knew what to do, I still was getting lost just because of how good it looked, and I wanted to keep going in other directions, but I also wanted to fight the Colossi. And the 13th Colossi is still, you know, tricky, and it still feels great when you bring it down after shooting its egg sacs on its stomach, and you ride aggro and you jumped on the thing, and it feels great when you finally get on it. So that sense of accomplishment, CEA, that's the real sense of pride and accomplishment. That still feels fucking amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I wish the demo had been a little longer. I wish they gave us more time, but yeah, you know, I didn't beat the 13th Colossi. I'm gonna have to wait for the full game to do that. But from what I played of Shadow of the Colossus, oh man, I cannot wait for the 1st of February. And now that Ni no Kuni 2 has been delayed from mid-January to late March, Shadow of the Colossus will definitely be the first game that I play for this channel, I'm pretty sure. So that was really good. Moving on, the other big PS4 exclusive that you had to RSVP for, Detroit Become Human. I have a lot to say about this one. Unfortunately, it was not the demo that I had hoped it would be. I had hoped it would be the Kara demo, where it's the one where she has to deal with the abusive father and the child and whatever. But it's the same demo that I totally predicted they were going to use. It's the hostage one, which is a safe bet. It's safer than using, I think. I'm shocked they didn't go with like the Marcus one. I really wanted to try the Marcus one, but and there was no other option for another one. It was just, and like the press got to play the Kara one. The press got to play it at PSX, but the people that paid money to attend it did not. And I've always found that weird with PlayStation making this event for, you know, its fan base, but then they like block off some of the content for press. That's always rubbed me the wrong way, and particularly when this demo is so old. We've seen this demo so many times, so many different ways, ever since E3 2016. That's how many times we've seen this demo. I've seen this demo so many times over a year and a half, and I really wanted to play something new, but it did not happen that way. It was the hostage demo, which, you know, I'm not knocking the hostage demo. I think the hostage demo, it's one thing to see it, you know, play out from another person playing it. It's another thing to actually play it. And to play it is excellent. That scene is tense. It is decently well acted. It's okayly written by David Cage's standards, and the graphics are, wow, like the facial animation is so good. It was just so good. I loved that demo. I really did. It's not faultless though, because you have to, like, Heavy Rain, I think they did it in Beyond Two Souls as well. You have to use, like the gimmicky stuff on the controls. It's this weird way you pick up certain items where you have to flick the right analog stick, or you have to move it in a certain direction in order to pick things up or whatever. And using the touchpad felt weird because you had to slide your finger on the touchpad, and it was either like super sensitive, or you weren't like holding it long enough, weren't pressing down hard enough. So that was like a little kink there was a little kinks in the armor. And also you can't like pick things up over and over again. You can't decide. Like, there's the whole thing, with saving the fish, and I accidentally like bumped into the controller on the stick where I put the fish down, and it wouldn't let me pick it back up. And I was like, what the fuck? Like why can't I just pick this fish up again and put it in the cage? But the fish, I'm one of the people that let the fish die. I'm sorry. It was an accident. And there was also a situation with the gun as well. When you find the gun, I picked it up and then I put it down, not by accident, but by like, well, maybe I will, come back and get later. But it was like, no, like once I put down the gun, I couldn't pick it back up. So you're stuck going through the demo without the gun. And I was like, right, okay, I guess I'll use that as a challenge. I will challenge myself to try to get the best possible outcome without using the gun. And I did well. I got the android's trust up to 100%. Did it without the gun. Saved the hostage. Android gets killed. I win. And that was really cool. Didn't need to self-sacrifice. Didn't get shot in the head. Anything like that. So I don't want to talk about Detroit. I guess I'm gonna have to. Because, do I want to? Do I really want to get into this? But, alright, yeah, I guess I'll go for it. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think the stuff with Connor is going to be the clearly strongest element of the game. All the detective stuff with Connor, I think, is going to be awesome. I think that's going to be exciting. I think that's going to be intriguing. It's going to be fun, putting together mysteries and detective work and stuff. Because he's basically like an android Sherlock Holmes, where he literally has his own mind palace. But I think everything else that has to do with Kara and Marcus is just going to be filled with David Cage's usual sloppy, ham-fisted, laughably over-the-top writing and the acting. And I've heard at one point that in the Marcus story, the Marcus trailer, the demo that they showed off last E3 2017, that there's a morality meter to it, which immediately like sent out like warning signs in my head. And all that shit with the last Kara trailer with the child abuse and everything. And look, here's the thing. I'm not saying this thing needs to be censored. I am completely against that stupid organization in Australia or wherever it is talking about we need to censor this game because think of the children, because oh my god, the children there will be real consequences for children if this game comes out. Which, spoiler alert, there won't be. But I think that issue is really largely ignoring the big problem I think some people have with this demo, is that they don't trust David Cage to tell a good, mature story with child abuse as a thing in it, or slavery subtext, or racial tension, stuff like that. It's just David Cage has said, I don't want my movies to be they are movies. I don't want my games to be about messages. I don't want any kind of social stuff to it. Well, that sucks, dude, because you made a game about androids that have to sit in the back of the bus where one black android in one trailer sings a slave song, and where one of the androids has to break free from her programming to save a little girl from being beaten to death by her abusive father. So you can't just write these heavy themed social stuff and then just wash your hands and go, oh, I don't mean to do a message, I don't mean to do anything like that. Because that's not how this works, dude. That's really not. That, like, when he says shit like that, that makes me really concerned about Detroit Become Human. And to be perfectly honest, besides the hostage scene, which is excellent, I haven't liked anything else that I've seen nor heard about the game since then. That Marcus thing that they showed off at E3, did not like what I heard about that. That Kara demo trailer thing at Paris Games Week, did not like that. That was another like really large warning sign about the game. But I definitely think this is where the game's gonna peak. I think specifically this hostage scene is going to be the best part of the game. I think that's gonna be the best scene, and it's just gonna go downhill from there. But we'll see. I'm hoping this game proves me wrong, because I'd really like this game to succeed. I like the idea behind it. I like that David Cage is going back to an interconnected story with multiple characters, like Heavy Rain, except hopefully not laughably stupid. But it is David Cage, and he does not have a trustworthy record with handling this kind of heavy social subject matter like this, and that does not inspire a lot of confidence in me. So we will see. We'll see when it comes to Detroit Become Human. I hope it's good. Finally, easily the best thing that I played at PSX, and a game that I think when it finally comes out is going to rock, if done correctly and released to critical success and financial success, is going to rock people's minds, which is Lost Soul Aside. This is the one that was shown off as a one-man project from a Chinese developer I think it was like a year ago or half a year ago, and people like loved it. It was this gorgeous DMC meets Final Fantasy kind of vibe to it, where you had this epic sword fighting and these bosses, and it looked fucking cool. And I'm one of the people that was super impressed by it. And I was very happy to find out that PlayStation had kind of brought the guy under their wing, and they were going to help him financially. And I think it's a timed exclusive on the PS4, and they prepared a special demo for it at PSX, and that was one of the longest lines I saw for a game there. It was like, unfortunately, like 2 kiosks were playing it, but the lines were like a good 2.5 hours to 3 hours each. This was a 15-minute demo, and people had to fight a boss. So I loved it. I fucking loved it. It was everything I had hoped it would be from the trailer that we got, and more. This is a game that definitely is Devil May Cry, definitely has an element of Final Fantasy to it, has the Dark Souls vibe or Bloodborne vibe to it, with the, you know, health and the toughest shit boss battle. My god, that boss was tough. And a little dash of Kingdom Hearts to it. Like, when I started the demo, it had this very Kingdom Hearts-esque music to it, and it gave way to like a more unique soundtrack for the game. But it had a really nice, really great score. There's a character in the game called Ventus, which kind of threw me off a little bit. But I loved it. The combat, it needs work. The graphics were a little fuzzy. Some of the movesets needed a little bit, tweaking with the input, but I fucking loved it. I waited an hour and 15 minutes to play it, and I can say, unlike Kingdom Come Deliverance, it was totally worth the wait. And it looked beautiful. It was stylish as fuck. The combat was excellent. You feel like a fucking badass playing it, and it was just, I loved it. And one of my good friends, like, he was the guy that showed me this trailer, and I just immediately, when I was done with it, I texted him and I was like, this game is going to rock your fucking world, dude. And I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't know what the full game is going to be like. I don't know what the story is or anything like that. But if it plays even better than what I played at PSX, this game is going to be huge. And if they don't announce Devil May Cry 5, this will be more than a worthy substitute for Devil May Cry. Lostle aside, easily the best game that I played at PSX this year. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So anyway, those are the games that I played at PSX this year. As I said, stay tuned for the more podcasty video with a guest where I'll talk about the PlayStation Experience 2017 overall, and that'll about do it. If you guys went to PSX, let me know what you guys thought of the games that were there, what your favorite games were, what your least favorite games were, and hopefully they do this again in Anaheim next year so I can, do this again and hopefully get it right this time with your guys' suggestions. So, in the meantime, have a good one, everyone. Take care.